Hi, and welcome to Penser Bank in our interview with Fingerprint Cards in relation to the release of the rights issue in the convertible bond the other day. I have with me Christian Lagerling, who is chairman of the company. Hi, Christian.
Hi, Marcus.
So maybe to thank you for coming here and talking to us. Complicated material, but maybe starting out by describing the release and what it is you announced the other day.
Yes, of course. Thanks for speaking to me this morning. We released and announced that we've secured new financing for the company of a minimum 340 million Swedish kroners, and we also have an option to draw down an additional 90 million, so total funding up to 430 million. And this has been structured in a combination of a convertible bond and a rights issue to existing shareholders. And that's the core of it. We wanted to find a good balance where we can let our existing owners, defend their ownership through the rights issue, and also to invite a strong financial institution through a convertible. And core part of this is which we also announced, to do an early redemption of our outstanding bond, which is a traditional loan or bond loan. And we've been keen to find a good structure to do that over the last few months. And very pleased that we found this very, very good solution, which gives the company a strengthened balance sheet, much more flexibility for our growth plans. So high level, that's what was announced this week.
And just quickly, the cost of the convertible bond is 6%, if I remember right.
That is correct, and
which is then significantly lower than the current bond.
Exactly, and the financing cost of the existing bond has been going up in a rising interest environment, which has been one of the reasons certainly to refinance this now.
And maybe a little bit on the timing. The timing of the issue of the convertible bond, the rights issue, why now?
I think the reasons as mentioned, we see so many growth opportunities for the companies, both in existing areas, but definitely also in several new areas. And we made another announcement. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that today as well. So we wanted to get this done to increase flexibility for the companies so that we can make the investments that we need and want to do. And really, of course, in all stakeholder shareholders' interest to maximize revenue and profitability for the company.
Yeah, we'll come back to that of the use of the proceeds, but maybe a little bit on the convertible and Heights Capital Management, who is the taker of it. It's quite a big stake in the company, given that they would convert. But can you just talk a little bit about Heights Capital Management, who it is, and some of the reasons why you chose to go into agreement with them?
Absolutely. Heights is a US-based investor that specialize in doing these types of convertible note investments. So they have a long record. They have experience, even though US-based, in Europe and also in Sweden, in fact. So they're familiar with the local market in Sweden and working with companies there. And as we evaluated different options for the company and different investors, we liked Heights for a few reasons. Their experience, they've been very professional in our dealings. And we also very keen to internationalize our owner base, which is a long-term project we're working on. And inviting Heights based in the US, I think, is a great step. And I think we want to continue the work to internationalize the owner base of the company.
Mm-hmm. And talking a little bit about the proceeds, because from what I understand, I mean, the good thing with the early release of the bond or early payment of the bond is the covenants has kind of hindered you to invest into the new businesses. That is not just new business, but maybe also the non-mobile businesses, so to speak. So, what are your kind of plans? What will you use this money for, except for the bond?
Fundamentally, it's about more flexibility. And of course, we're repaying the bond, the 300 million, which is outstanding. And yeah, then we're very carefully and very selectively investing in some existing and new business areas. And yeah, I'm very excited about that. We also said that we can consider to do smaller acquisitions where we see opportunity. The market, of course, technology, for the most part, have been through a quite dramatic correction over the last almost year or so. And we have had our challenges resulting in lower share price. But of course, it also creates an opportunity for us to look at other companies that we now could potentially acquire at much more attractive valuations. So that's also under evaluation, and all of this together is where we see we will carefully apply capital.
Because from what I think you wrote in the release yesterday that you have some partnerships that are quite far gone in terms of negotiations, and where we should see some fruit of that in the near future.
Yes, I know the team addressed this yesterday, and I'd prefer to talk about it a little bit more perhaps when we announce it. But yes, I'm excited about that as well. And we've mentioned automotive sector, which has now opened up quite interestingly for our iris technology through the new legal requirements for this driver monitoring system. So that could be one interesting area to keep an eye on for sure.
And what kind of dilution are we talking about for the current shareholders?
So the short answer is that it depends on a little bit. Existing shareholders can defend their ownership through the rights issue, depending on how much you choose to subscribe to. And when it comes to the heights part, as mentioned, there is also the option of the additional 90 million, so a little bit depending on what that final amount is. Dilution will depend on primarily whether we as the company chooses to amortize the convertible through using our own cash from the balance sheet, or if we choose to issue shares. And having this option for the company is very important to understand, because it gives us the flexibility, and we can carefully consider during amortization if it's better for all stakeholders and shareholders to use the cash, or if we think it's a good timing, we can issue shares. Theoretically, the whole convertible could be paid back, which would mean 0% dilution. And if you as a shareholder subscribe to your pro rata, you would have zero dilution for the entire financing. And if there is maximum conversion, again, depending on the option, there will be some dilution, of course, but it's also done over time. Heights can only convert at a premium, which is set at 125% to a share price before the conversion dates. So overall, again, we think this is a very good, flexible solution that is fair for the investor, but gives us as the company a lot of flexibility to manage our balance sheet.
And then finally, maybe before wrapping up, you You sent out another press release, I think it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, about a new business that you have established. Maybe talking a little bit about that, the new unit, and how this hangs together with what we just talked about.
Yes, we did touch on it a little bit already, I think, on the call today. But we're excited about that. Again, we see a lot of new opportunities. I mentioned a little bit on the M&A side, which could accelerate market entry for us into new areas or expand existing areas. There were essentially 4 parts of new business announced, which is partnerships, potential acquisitions, automotive as a specific sector, as I also mentioned, and also interestingly, monetizing our IP portfolio. We have about 600 registered patents in the portfolio, and we've also seen more recently some very interesting opportunities to more proactively monetize that IP, not only use it to, let's say, compete in existing and potential new markets. So Thomas Rex is running that business unit for us, but it's of course very much core of the company's strategy going forward.
Mm-hmm. So what's the next step now in this process?
Next step is to complete the financing package as been announced. There will be a prospectus published here in the near future, which will have all the fine details and timeline. But of course, update our existing investors around the rights issue and give them the opportunity to decide how they want to act in that. There is also, of course, a shareholder meeting that needs to take place for all the legal formalities. So yeah, we'll continue to have the administrative work to close this out, but we're happy to have announced a firm agreement, binding agreement with Heights, and also fully guaranteed rights issue, so that we know that the funding is in place, which is most important. And yeah, we hope all our teams who've been working hard find a little bit of summer break as well, but there's a little bit of more administrative work to do.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Christian, for talking to us. It's very exciting, complicated but very exciting, and yeah, looking forward to keep following what's the fruits of this. So thank you very much, and have a good summer.
Thank you. Likewise. Have a good summer.